It's the NFL offseason. Not much to talk about. Why not talk about some new trade rumors for star edge rusher Trey Hendrickson? Because Bleacher Report put out an article and they went through all 32 NFL teams, gave them one trade they think each team should consider going into the 2025 NFL season. And of course, Trey Hendrickson was listed for your Green Bay Packers. It's been a very interesting last 4 months for Hendrickson, okay? You throw it all the way back to early March. That's when it came out, the report. Hendrickson was allowed to seek a trade. Then he went on the Pat McAfee show on May 12th and said that there's been no communication. Then, next day, he vented to reporters at minicamp, at OTAs, that he's really, really frustrated with the situation. June 10th, he did not attend their minicamp. Then on June 15th, just 5 days later, there was a report from ESPN Insider that Cincinnati and Hendrickson have resumed contract talks. 3 days after that, he went on the Pat McAfee show again, and Pat McAfee tweeted that they're not any further along and that there is a disagreement on the deal. A month after that, just a couple of days ago, Trey Hendrickson posts on Instagram for the first time a reel of him in the Cincinnati Bengals highlights, but with the caption, 1 Corinthians 16:13, which quotes, "Stand firm in the faith," and then we all got to look out for July 22nd, which is when veterans will report to Bengals training camp. It's been an up and down roller coaster for Trey, right? The holdout is real. He's admitted multiple times he will not play unless he gets a new deal. So will the Green Bay Packers be the team that gives him that new deal? We'll talk a little bit more about it and what Bleacher Report had to say coming up on today's show. For that, though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel in the midst of a heated sub-battle with our Bears Now channel. Let me tell you this. They got about 100,000 more subscribers than we do. They've been around a lot longer. Okay, I get it. But we're still really close to beating them in this sub-battle. We are strong. We are mighty. We're smaller, but we're going to win this thing. Okay, we're down 19 subscribers. Need you guys to help me out. Hit that big red subscribe button. It's free to do, and it makes a Bears fan day that much worse. And I know you guys love doing that. All right, let's talk about those new trade rumors because the Bleacher Report said that the Packers should consider trading for edge Trey Hendrickson. Here's what they had to say. This would depend on how much money Hendrickson is looking for. But the Packers currently have $35.5 million of cap space available in 2025 per over the cap and need an edge rusher. Granted, over the cap lists Green Bay's 2026 cap space at just $17.1 million, so this would take some financial maneuvering from Brian Gutekunst and company. If the Cheeseheads can make the finances work, their Super Bowl odds should see a significant increase by adding last year's sack leader. And let's be real, like it is in most cases, whether it's in professional sports or in our everyday lives, money is the biggest factor in this, okay? It's the only reason that if they don't trade for Trey Hendrickson, that is why. Because if you look at the highest paid edge rushers, you notice a lot of really good players, right? Danielle Hunter, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Nick Bosa. You see Rashawn Gary there, TJ Watt. You know who's a name that you don't see? A guy who got 35 sacks in the last 2 seasons in Trey Hendrickson, okay? He wants to be high on that list. He wants to be on that list. He wants to be, I think, in the top 3, probably at number 2. I don't think he's looking for $40 million. Okay, it's been reported that he's not looking for Myles Garrett money because I think he knows he's not going to get Myles Garrett money because although he's really productive in the sack department, he's not as well-rounded and polished of an edge rusher and of a defensive player as Myles Garrett is. I think he's looking for more than Danielle Hunter has, which is $35.6 million. I think he's probably looking for around $36 million. But like Bleacher Report, Brian Gutekunst, he's this team's general manager. He doesn't have to just think about the now. He has to think about the future, and he doesn't want to hamstring himself with another really big contract for Trey Hendrickson, a guy who's getting older, when he knows looking in 2026, they don't have a ton of cap space, but they have a ton of really, really important free agents. Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker, Rhyan, 3 key pieces on your offensive line, 2 wide receivers, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. Then you flip it over to the defensive side of the football, Kingsley Enagbare, Quay Walker, Devonte Wyatt. That's a lot of really, really good players. And you know my take by now, okay? If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you've probably heard me talk about these trade rumors before. I think that edge rusher is one of the biggest needs for Green Bay, okay? And you could get the best in the league, one of the best in the National Football League. All you got to do is pay him, okay? And to me, for a guy who's been durable. He's only missed 3 games in the last 4 seasons. That puts up the numbers that he does on this defensive line. Guys, I just think that's what this team needs. This team does not have a bona fide superstar on the defensive side of the football. Xavier McKinney is awesome, but is he a bona fide superstar? And outside of them, who's second, right, in that list? I don't really know who that is. You add in Trey Hendrickson to this unit. The defensive line gets better, and cornerbacks get better because of that. He gets to the quarterback. He gets the quarterback down. He does everything really, really well. And that's what this team needs, okay? So I get where Brian Gutekunst is coming from. I really, really do. He's got to think about this team's future. But in order to make this decision, he's going to have to decide, do I want to hamstring this future, or am I in win now mode? Okay? I think if you add Trey Hendrickson, this team has a shot to win it all. I really do. What say you guys? Would you trade for Hendrickson if you were Brian Gutekunst? Give me a yes or give me a no in the comment section down below. Play Goody, close your eyes, act like you're the GM, and make that decision. For the back half of today's show, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and I'm going to give you my most valuable players and most improved players for Green Bay in 2025. This is my projection. We're going over 4 categories today. Offensive MVP, offensive MIP, and then both those same categories, but on the defensive side of the football. Starting off with the offensive side, MVP, I think it's going to be Jordan Love, okay? I really, really do. I've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about how I'm such a big believer in what Love is going to do in 2025, just because he's going to be fully healthy and also because he's got a lot more talent around him when it comes to the wide receiver room. If he can stay fully healthy, I expect this guy at the end of the season to be considered a top 6 quarterback. We all saw what he was going to be able to do. Hopefully the wide receivers pick up a little bit slack and, catch the ball for him as well. Speaking of wide receivers, speaking of wide receiver drops, that's where I'm going with my most improved player. I think it's going to be Jayden Reed. I think we're going to see a massive uptick in catches for Jayden Reed, and the fact that I think he's going to eliminate the majority of his drops. He had 857 yards last year, 6 touchdowns, 70 yards was his longest. He also had a drop rate of around 12%. That is going to have to change. I think that is going to change. He's talked about how he's been on the jugs machine for the entirety of the summer, trying to make that not a problem. I can see him catching for somewhere around 1,100, 1,200 yards, and that, to me, would make him the most improved player on this offensive roster. Let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball now. I think your MVP is going to be Xavier McKinney yet again. Now, I don't think he's going to replicate the same year he had last year in terms of interceptions, pass breakups, and things like that. Because let's be honest, that would be very, very hard to do. He had 8 picks last season. Absolutely ridiculous. But I still see the talent, okay? I still see what he did last year and say, you know what? I'm confident that he's still going to be the best player on this defense, okay? He might not get 8 picks. It might be somewhere around 2 to 5 this year. But, hey, even if that's the case, I'd sign up for it right now. Last up, defensive most improved player. This guy, I even thought about putting him for my defensive MVP. That's how I think how much of a step he's going to take in 2025. Edgerrin Cooper. He's going into year 2, 2nd-round pick. Last year, 87 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. This is a guy who is more athletic than almost anybody else on the football field. Any given time, he steps in between the white lines. We talked about all the havoc plays he had last year. Havoc plays are sacks, tackles for loss, pass breakups, interceptions. He was a disruptor. And the way he ended last season, with all the numbers that he put up in the last 4 games, it gives me all the confidence in the world that he's going to absolutely ball out in his 2nd year. And he's also put on that weight as well. So there is my list. Jordan Love, Jayden Reed, Xavier McKinney, and Edgerrin Cooper. Those are my MVPs. Those are my most improved players. Now it is your turn. Fill out your list in the comment section down below. Who do you think are the offensive and defense MVPs? Who do you think are the offensive and defensive most improved players? Let me know your thoughts. We're going to get on out of here, but thanks so much for joining us today. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Joey Peterson. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well for daily updates on the green and gold.